Bringing you the voice and vision of custom culture and lifestyle, as seen through the eyes of this South Texas duo. Welcome to the Custom Couple. Welcome to the Custom Couple, man. What's going on?
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing awesome today. It's almost the end of the week.
Yes.
I was running.
We always spend the first part of these episodes like fixing sound problems and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Just because everybody's different when it comes to what they're recording on and what they're talking into. So, but it's all good. We will get these things worked out throughout the process and have a good conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
set up, man.
Cody, tell us a little bit about like you and coming up in car culture. Like, where did you get your starts and growing up with it?
When I was younger, I was actually in the Volkswagens, which I think most car guys I think they're either in the Volkswagens or mini trucks. Is how kind of what I've gathered, you know. It's kind of two basic categories. I had this old bug that I tried to chop, and it turned out like shit. But
The first one's never a winner.
I mean, I was 14, 15, so.
Oh, shit.
Could be too hard on myself. Yeah, just I was always into cars. It wasn't really until I started doing upholstery that I really got into American cars. You know, I drove my first Camaro with a V8. I was like, yeah, I'm going back to the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
There was no one really when I was younger that was into it,
Mm-hmm.
or none of my family was into it. It was just kind of something I saw until I started doing it professionally that I really got into it.
Yeah. So, you said you started in Volkswagens and upholstery got you into doing American cars. What were some of the first things that you really wanted to, get when you did get into American cars? What were some of the first ones that you did upholstery with?
First car I made upholstery on was like a 65 Barracuda. It was the first one I ever did any real fabrication on for upholstery. But there's a bunch of. I used to work for a shop in St. George that did a lot of customs, a lot of repair work. But we had a lot of old 50s trucks and Chevelles, whatever. Yeah.
Nice. So I heard you were on TV at one point. When was this, and what show was it?
TV. It was called Bitchin' Rides. I was on there for 4 years. I just left back in March. I was working for a shop called JS Custom Interiors. I worked for Kim Diggett. But yeah, that was cool. I think being on TV is a little overrated, but it's not as cool as everyone thinks. You don't walk down the street and people call your name. I think only 2 people have ever noticed me on the street. That's all right.
That's funny because when we talked earlier, you're like, yeah, it didn't bother me to be on TV in front of millions of people. That because you could just edit it. You could just edit out whatever you wanted.
A little bit.
But no, these podcasts that we've been doing lately have just been, just good conversations with people. I mean, we had one the other day with a guy that just out of the blue messaged us, and it was one of those things where it was like he kind of had a cool story to tell, and we weren't sure going into it like what all like was entailed with it. But then once we got rolling into it, I mean, it was just like absolutely amazing story that unfolded out for everybody. And it was like, man, like you just never know what kind of stories people are going to have for you. So like these conversations, they get rolling and we like lose track of time, and we're supposed to be like trying to keep things down to like 45-minute-ish marks. And we're like, oh, it's an hour and a half later and we're still sitting here talking. How did you end up on bitchin' rides? Like what got you onto that path?
So the shop that I worked for, that I apprenticed for right out of high school, he actually worked for my boss at day as Justin. But he worked for him for like 10 years ago, and I'd always wanted to work there. I'd see their cars at SEMA. I was like, yeah, that's where I want to be. And I never thought I was good enough, and then did a complete by myself. Did a couple, and then I was like, all right, time. So I messaged them, told me to come try out. Yeah, I moved up. I mean, it's about 4 hours away from where I was living before, but took the jump and learned a lot. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Just a whole step up. Well, it was awesome. I learned a lot. Met a lot of cool people. It's time to do it on my own now.
Yeah, for sure. What was probably one of your favorite cars that you got to work on while being on there?
I think the Coronet that we did was, I'm a Mopar guy, even though I had 2 Lincolns, but I don't know. Guy at heart. But yeah, it was a really cool car. Everything out of Kindig is, next level.
Yeah, definitely. You said you're a Mopar guy, man. We've owned a couple Plymouths, and I've owned a couple.
You were talking to the number one Mopar guy that loves them to death. Like, he has had anything and everything you can imagine.
Yeah, and especially like big fin, late 50s, the forward look Mopars and all of that. Beautiful. We just sold our 60 last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a 60 two-door Plymouth. It was a Belvedere, but man, it was cool. I just those fins. I could sit here talking Mopar all day.
I just recently got rid of my 64 Imperial. It was a 4-door, but it was all blacked out. I daily drove that thing for 4 years.
Really?
Back and forth to Vegas all the time. It was a good car. I always start up, even up here, negative 15.
Absolutely.
More than my truck. I have to dump my diesel with that thing every morning.
Right. What Lincolns do you have? You said you got 2 Lincolns right now. What do you have?
So my wife, she has a 62 Lincoln, suicide door, the one everyone loves.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And I've got a 56 Continental Mark II.
Oh, very cool.
Got some cool history behind it. It was chubby checkers in 1961.
Really?
So the twist and all that, yeah. And I'd saw that car years ago, but I didn't have the money for it. Mm-hmm. Came across it about a year ago, and it was still for sale. I was like, all right, it's time.
Yeah, you're like, I got a little bit more money. What's up?
Yeah. It was actually owned by Chubby Checker.
Yeah, and I got all notarized, letters from them and pictures. And
wow.
That's when he was recording the twist and that whole album. So it's kind of in his prime.
Yeah,
cool history.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. Next year to get it. Maybe driving. I bought it. I took it home. I got it running. I drove it around the block and was like, all right, time to tear it down. It's in pieces now. You got to do one nice one frame off.
Yeah, isn't that the way a lot of things go? We get something that's like running and driving, and then it's like, I'm gonna go ahead and tear this all apart.
I'm gonna ruin this.
I'm glad it's running, but now let me rip it to shit and see what happens.
Yeah, I drove it around the block. That was good. I know the motor is good.
Like, I got street time. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
Now, with that one, is that one that you feel like you should keep in somewhat of an original condition, and and not do anything modification wise, or how are you gonna go with that car?
I was like, he just ripped it to shit. It's not gonna be.
No. Sorry if you hear my dogs watch it home.
No, that's fine.
That one, yeah, I'm gonna go early 60s custom. I want it to be like chubby customized it in 64. You know, that's kind of my goal. I was going to go black with a white tuck and roll, but yesterday I saw a chopped Merc with a red interior, so I think it's going to be red now.
Oh, there
that's
you
what
go.
it was originally, was black paint with red interior, so I think I'm going to do that, but fully customized.
That's me right here. Every car I've ever had has to be black and red, and it has to have white walls on it. Every single car I've ever had. That's what our Plymouth was. We painted it. I taped all of it. Oh my God, I was so proud of it. It was the best thing in the world. But yeah, no, every car, black and red are my favorite colors. So I'm like, nope. All my cars have to be black with red interior.
Yeah, that was the plan with her Thunderbird, and then we sold the Thunderbird recently. So, but yeah, it was going to be black with red interior. The next thing we get is going to be black with red interior.
It doesn't change. He's like, you'll change your mind of it. No, I won't.
It's good together. Everything's black and red.
Oh, it's so
right?
It's a pretty combination. I love it so much.
Right? Stick to the hits.
Yeah. Depends if it's not broken.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me about this adventure of you going off and starting your own business. What is it? Seems Impossible? Is that what the interior shop that you opened up now?
Yeah, Seams, SEAMS.
Yeah.
Play on word. Yeah, it's been an adventure for sure. Just learning the whole business side of it. You know, I've been doing it for the upholstery side for almost 10 years, but the business side, you see it, but you don't really do it. So, dealing with taxes, customers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the fun part. Yeah.
The real fun part, yeah. It's worth it.
Years ago when I decided I wanted to try to, have a media business and do all that, and I was like, I'm gonna do this legit, because everybody has their own ways of doing things, under the radar, right? And I was like, I'm gonna do this legit. It's gonna be a real business. Within 6 months, I wanted to tear all my hair out.
He's like, I'm done. I'm like,
if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you want to sell T-shirts? Yeah, we're gonna tax you for that.
You get letter, well, this tax and this tax. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's perks.
So how long have you been doing Seems Impossible?
So I've been doing it, after work. I was at JS for a few years. I've done a couple full builds.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, I just left there back in March, so that's when I actually registered.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, just since March. But it's been an adventure.
Yeah. Wait till next March when you get to file your first set of taxes.
Like, no, I'm good.
Talk about that.
So, what have you got in the shop right now? Any, as far as your customers go, do they mind you telling about their cars?
So I can tell you about the one that's in here right now. It's a 51 Plymouth. It's a full custom. I think someone built it probably 20 years ago.
Mm.
But, it's got 55 Chevy headlights, 51 Willys grill, 52 Lincoln tail lights, chopped and channeled, Carson top. Really cool. The only problem is I had a white technical interior, but he wants it fully modern.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God.
So you had to tear apart like decent interior.
I mean, how they built it wasn't great, but the upholstery was actually really nice. There was just miles of tuck and roll, which is really cool. But so I had to stare at it for about a week, figure out how to make it where I feel good with myself. And it's like a tan, like a buckskin. Not going on, but I think it looks really good. It should be done Monday, Tuesday. It's really cool. But after that, we got some stuff for SEMA, some really cool stuff that I can't talk about right now. But,
of course, yeah, we understand that part of it.
Oh,
but, yeah, I got some really cool ones lined up here pretty soon.
I was really digging that Halloween one you posted up. Not that one. That one was freaking cool. I was staring at it this whole time. I was like, man, I love it. It's just, it's amazing.
You said that one was for in Edsel that you did?
Yeah, that was our club president's Edsel wagon. But back when it was bare metal, it's all black and blue now. But yeah, that was probably 6 years ago.
Nice.
Actually,
And now it's something completely different. He sold those seats, huh?
no, he's got them. He's like, how can we change the color? I'll probably end up doing it. Still looks good in there.
Very
That's
cool. I mean, speaking of club, you're in the drag strip zombies, correct?
Right.
Dude, so many of y'all have jumped on with us and absolutely been like supporting everything that we're doing. Two of y'all even jumped on as sponsors for the for the
sponsors
show.
lining up all the Johnnies.
Yeah. Yeah, so anybody else named Johnny in y'all's clubs, like we need to get all of them.
We already have 2 Johnny sponsors. I don't need a Johnny 3. I'm good.
No, we have to get at least 5 because I got to be able to call somebody Johnny 5.
Yeah, I think there's only 2.
Damn it.
Okay, so we can have Johnny Squared.
Johnny Squared. Well, Johnny Plumber is Johnny Squared, just so he knows that.
I remember seeing a post with you on his page a while back, some salty dogs.
Oh yeah, I knew that always comes up. That always comes up. Oh yeah, no, they play that wonderful game with him. He is trash. But see, the thing that people don't, the thing that people don't know is the reason why Johnny does it. Not just because he accepts the drink, but because I told Johnny when he gets super drunk, he can't walk. I piggyback him. I put him on my back and I will carry him.
Yeah.
So he was like, I don't believe you because I'm only like 5'5". He's 6'3". So you just see his legs dragging. So he looks like he's floating. And so that night, Johnny saw it and he couldn't believe it. And ever since then, that's become a thing.
Yeah. It started at the invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Several years ago, I went to the invasion and I got trashed. And like so like everybody figured out like, oh, that's Lane's choice drink is the salty dog. And I started posting on every day I'd come home from work and make myself one, and it became this thing. And out of the blue it was like, okay, well, Lane can't say no. And like that was the game. If you hand him a drink, he can't say no.
He'll drink it.
And I've been carried out of a few places.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Well, he's like, I can't be rude. I'm like, well, don't be rude. They bought you a drink. Now it's become a thing of where people who don't even know us will buy him a drink because Johnny posts. He's like, all right, who wants to buy him one? And it's become such a game. It's not even funny now.
We're actually going to have somebody on the show in the next couple of weeks. We have to get it scheduled, that messaged me because he sent me a message that said, hey, I've bought you drinks through Johnny Plumber, but I've never met you.
Got a legacy going.
Yeah. So I was like, well, you have to be on the show now. Like,
sure.
I mean, you're practically a brother-in-law at that point. So how many of the zombies are out there where you're at?
It's just me and this guy, Richard.
Okay.
It's just 2 of us out here in Utah. He was actually in Vegas. He moved out here. I was with in Utah for a while. Just 2 of us out here. There's not a lot of. Yeah, it seems kind of weird out here. Very, old timer.
Mm-hmm.
Very, street rod. That kind of culture. There's not, like, I see it out in Texas. Everyone's rolling around, something cool. I mean, out here, they're out here, but there's not a lot of.
Oh yeah, we got some lowriders like down the street. They meet up like once a week and they go cruise around.
Yeah, we're on the south side of San Antonio, so like we see a lot of like the lowriders, the bombs, the
Yeah.
old school stuff like that. And then we're in a car club, motor club that's cars and bikes, and we've got about 20 members, and wives, so
Right.
it's like we've got quite a few things going on here. But San Antonio, I mean, South Texas, like car culture just like blew up in the last 10 years. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was going strong 20 years ago, and then it hit like this little dead spot. But like, you Salt Lake, right? Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lots of Mormons and cool shit like that, right?
I only have one wife.
What's that?
I only have one wife. I know that's gonna be it.
Oh, okay. One wife. All right. Well, I thought we had a podcast here.
Stupid. So dumb. Oh my god.
Have
There's
you
actually
ever?
a lot of old car history? Like we got Bonneville right here. There's a lot of.
I was gonna ask you if you made it out to the flats. Have you gone out
did
there at all?
last weekend. That was the first time I've ever been. It's usually busy season at work. TV deadlines and hot dog tonight. This week I was able to get away. It was cool. If you're into racing and that kind of, it's cool for the nostalgia and history.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing a ton of pictures come from it all this week, and it's just been freaking rad. Our buddy Matthew Leland, he's out there right now taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, just absolutely
Well,
cool
it's about
stuff
an hour
out
and a
there.
half from here.
Okay. That's pretty
We were in a
good.
good spot. We were an hour and a half from there. 6 hours from Vegas, 8 hours, 6 hours from Denver. I like kind of a good hub for in-betweeners.
It's all 2 weeks from everywhere.
Yeah. You're about 10 hours from wherever you want to be.
Shit, it just takes 10 hours to get out of Texas.
Yeah.
You don't go anywhere. Man, we've been driving for 10 hours. Where are we? Texas.
We're still in Texas. Yeah.
My grandparents used to live in Bandera.
Oh, okay.
That's only 30 minutes from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I went with them when I was younger. One summer I drove from there to Oshkosh, Wisconsin with them.
Oh my God.
Oh, God, that is a drive.
But yeah, it was like the whole day. I'm like, where are we at? They're like, oh, yeah, we're still there.
Yep.
All right.
It's like, man, we
Cool.
must have made some drive. Yeah, we just got out of Texas.
Supposed to be in Arkansas by now. Nope.
But you know what the cool thing about that is, though, is like getting out of Texas. Like once you're out of Texas, then everything else like seems like it just goes by so fast.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
we were supposed to go to New York to meet John Waters, and then there was a Hooligans Car Club show. Like it was a huge show that they do in Pennsylvania, and I was like, let's just see how far it is. It was only like 2.5 hours. I was like, oh, that's nothing. Let's just
Right.
do it. I was like, that's not even a whole day. We're totally fine. So like we had this whole map planned out to go and be there, and like rented an Airbnb and everything. And I was like, oh, that's so easy. I was like, that's like going to the beach here.
Yeah, they were like crazy stoked that we were gonna be able to go, and they were like, "Man, are you sure you're gonna drive that much?" I
They're
was
like, that's a far drive. And I'm like, no, it's not.
it's good for us. I mean, we do day trips like that. We go pick up cars and come back in the same day.
Oh,
Right.
Oh
But-
yeah, we've driven a good bit to go see cars, just to go see them. We're like, let's just go. We have time.
So what's
First Lincoln spot was up in Idaho. It was like a 7-hour drive. We got there and it wasn't what they promised. I was like, we drove 7 hours.
We
Oh.
did that for we did that for 6.5.
Yeah, we did a 6.5 hour drive that ended up with an empty trailer coming home.
Yep.
Oh, it wasn't empty. I bought it. It was a mistake. But I was like, I'm not going back empty handed.
Oh, I've done that one too.
Yeah.
Drove 6 hours up to where my parents live. They live out in northeast Texas. Drove about 6 hours out there and brought home a shoebox Ford that was just a basket case.
Laugh at them. Yeah, I've done that too.
I have not. I refuse. I'm like,
Yeah,
nope.
she's like, if it doesn't drive home, we're not towing it home.
Nope.
So That's where we're at in cars.
That's
now.
where you lucked out. I'm not like, oh, this is good. Let's buy it. No, I'm like the toughest person to please when it comes to a car. If I know what I want, how I need it to look and sound, if it doesn't, I won't get it. I'm like, no, I'm okay. They're like, oh, I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, I'm pretty, but to be fair, all I really want is just a big fin car that is automatic, that runs and drives. I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't care about the bells and whistles that come with it. But, everyone wants to throw like 80,000 different ideas and be like, well, you could do this and this. I was like, no, that's all I want. Yep.
Yeah, running and driving is always key.
Yep. But we've shown up some places and they're like, it runs and drives like 5 years ago. I'm like, all right.
One park, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't stand that. I cannot stand that phrase.
Probably where it's sitting, so it should drive out.
God. That's what happened when we went to go get our first car together, that 60 Plymouth. It was about 3 hours away, I'd say, right? I think it was. I'm not 100% sure.
5.
But 5. Okay.
5 hours.
Sorry. Everything's like nothing. But we went and the guy told us to like, oh, it's automatic. It runs and drives. It's great. We got there. It had all flat tires. It was 3 on the tree. It hadn't worked in like years. The guy who ended up with it was like, oh, I painted some dude's house and instead of paying me, he gave me this car and I've just had it for the last 20 years. He like got a water bottle full of gas and just sprayed it in there and like sparked it with 2 little water. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, all right, this is not what we thought it was.
It works out sometimes.
Yeah. So granted, we bought it because I was like, let's just do it. This will be a fun car. We got it running. Our friend helped us. Our friend Jerry helped us get it running. And then we painted it and then we got rid of it after that.
Yeah, I still had a few issues with it. And one of them overheating. It kept overheating on me. And I was starting down the path of taking things apart and, get a new radiator, all of that stuff. And I was at the point where I was like, okay, I either go balls to the wall into it and fix it up and do everything right or sell it now before I jump into that money pit. Yep. It was just, that's where I was at with it because we wanted to get some other things, other cars.
Yep.
Sometimes that works out. That Imperial I bought, it was in Vegas. I drove down there and I guess it was his dad's. It had been in the field for like 20 years. His dad had died, so he inherited it. And it was like, he's like, I kind of want it. I mean, he wasn't really in cars, but he's like, it doesn't fit in my garage. It's only 20 feet long. So he's like, it should run. So I went to AutoZone and got a battery, a little gas, and started up. So I was like, all right. I gave him the money and I drove home from Vegas. It's only a 2-hour drive to St. George from there. But I mean, in a car that hasn't ran in 20 years, it was kind of scary.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Tires still had all the knobs on them, but I blew a tire about an hour out.
Oh, damn.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if your Plymouth is the same way, but the wheels on the left side, they're all reverse thread.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'd heard that in the past, but it didn't click. So I was on the side of the road, Nevada heat. Cranking it, it won't come off. And a little L on the thread, and I was like, oh, yeah, reverse. We got it and got back on the road. It was a good car.
Yeah. And then it was reverse on the left side. Now, I think in the early 60s, Mopar figured out that lug nuts are better than lug studs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 59 Plymouth I had was reverse thread, and it was all, lug, like bolts. So, yeah, it didn't have studs coming out of a hub and you put a nut on it. No, the hub had holes in it, and you bolted the wheel to the hub.
Volkswagen.
Exactly, just like the Volkswagens.
Apparently, you got to put it up. Stick it on.
Exactly.
It was, I only changed wheels on that car one time. I put brand new tires and brand new wheels on that car, and I never did it again.
That's enough for you.
But the 59 Plymouth was pretty rad because I liked it. You know, I put lowering blocks in the rear because it had it had pretty decent suspension, and I didn't want to go with airbags. And but those had torsion bar front ends, so you could just crank down the torsion bars.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So tell me, everybody's got one. What's the car that got away?
That one, really. I traded it for a car that I thought was nicer than it was, but it came here from Georgia, so I was like, all right, it's good. But, yeah, I mean, that car had been through the ringer.
Yeah.
It was a good car. And I had painted it, and I did the body work. It was the first time I did body work. Where I shaved the handles, it was kind of wavy. It really bugged me at the time, so I got rid of it. But looking back, it was just minor stuff.
Yeah.
And I had an old shoebox that I ran around with. A little 4-door, but top was cut off. And, I mean, that was my first real car that I cruised around. I never registered it, insured it. I drove around for like a year.
Nice. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. That was a good car. I used a lot of parts of it for my hot rod. And that's what the motor's out of, and steering and the brake.
Yeah. So that shoebox, they have a flathead in it?
Yeah. Yep. But in a really good. I only bought the car for $600.
Damn.
Yeah.
I won one for like $300.
Yeah.
I did a raffle. We were just helping our friend out, and I jokingly kept buying them because I was like, screw it. We're helping our friends anyway. And they're like, you won first and second place. And second place was like $100. So I was like, oh, I didn't spend $400. I spent $300. That's even better.
There you go. Better. Yeah, you got it back.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a 50 business coupe, and it had a flathead in it. I always enjoy those motors, and I still have yet to have one that's actually running.
Mine runs great. It starts right up. It's the rest of the steering.
Yep.
Nothing. I tried to put the tri-power on it, and it was just way too much. So I just blocked off the front and back carbs. Just for looks. It just runs up the middle, and it was great.
That's what I hear a lot of times with folks that have those tri-power intakes, where they'll have the front and the rear carburetors on for just looks, and the only one that's actually doing anything is the center. But I mean, it looks good. It looks freaking rad.
I mean, you have to really beef up the motor. You got to bore it, cam it. It's just a stock motor. All those.
Yeah.
Carbs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shit. At some point I'll get a flathead motor that's actually running and driving. I've owned 4 cars that had flatheads in them, and they always got pulled, put to the side, and it's like I'll do it someday.
If it runs great, run it. But if it doesn't, trash it. They're not worth rebuilding.
Yeah, I can see where a lot of those nostalgic motors, they just become money pits.
Mm-hmm.
You can put $10,000 in them and have 300 horsepower. You can go buy a small block for a third or a quarter of that, have more horsepower. So it's no brainer, but
yeah,
it's about a flathead. It has a certain sound, has a certain feel. I mean, if you hear a flathead drive by, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just cool when you have like fenderless cars, that you can see it, and that's like the nostalgic part of like hot rodding. The people that are doing things with flatheads and nail heads and Cadillac 331s and all of that. They just have a cool look to them. But you're right, as far as building one goes, and as far as like what you get out of it in return, really it's just for looks.
Yeah. Like mine, I built my car around the motor. That's why I painted it lime green.
Mm-hmm.
That was before I was in the zone. Lime green was here for color.
That's why they came after you.
They're like, oh, it's green. Go.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea was to make that focal point. You know. There's such good luck. Those and had the best looking motor. They need to be on the fender.
I absolutely. I love nailheads and everything except for Buicks.
Yeah.
Well, Cody, we will let you get back to your daily routine, and we'll let our listeners get back to whatever the hell they do at fucking 9:00 in the morning on a Tuesday. And all things custom, keep it cool.